let me welcome you back. This has actually been the shortest break, and I'm going to keep it that short and take just 1 second to introduce to you the next work and the artist. Meet Kriya. She's the artist who's put together this wonderful installation behind me. And in conversation with her will be Mary Therese Kurkalang, who's actually the curator of what we are calling the representation of the Eastern Himalayas. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you, Anindu. This is so nice because I'm sitting with a friend in a section that's so familiar to us, which feels like a bit of our land that we've brought here to Delhi. This is what you're looking at is a forestscape. And we're also sitting with each other like we would at home in our moras, in our kitchen, and having a conversation. But we also have you to listen in, so it shouldn't be that we're just talking to each other, but please join the conversation as you would when you come into our living rooms and our kitchens. So Kriya, I only met Kriya not too long ago, but it feels like a really long time ago. And when I heard about her through a common friend, I'd only heard about this designer who makes amazing products. And then I met her, and again I heard about these amazing products. And you know, for me, because of the material that she's using at the moment, which is bamboo, I think the word bamboo and products didn't resound too much. And I felt like when I first saw her products, I just felt like I was so wowed by it. I felt there is so much more to tell about what she's creating. And I kept telling Cami that, you know, are they products? Can we tell stories with it? So Cami, you have been telling this. And for me, what's really, really amazing from the first time I met you is that you always spoke about a relationship between the bamboo that you work with and yourself, that it wasn't that you were forcing or molding it into something, but that actually it was also dictating how you were molding it.
Yes.
Tell us a little about it.
So, Mary, thank you for your kind words. I'm so humbled. I didn't know you thought so high about me. Thank you. So, this is a story of my life, actually, what I have put together in the past 7 years. A life in a forest farm, raising a child, and how I have worked, lived, and done everything in union with the space where I live. So there was no differentiation between my work and my personal life. I just put it all into one. Like this morning also in a discussion with Vidya, I said that there was this oneness that I have been celebrating, and I never actually thought of it like that, but it just kind of, it kind of flowed like that naturally, that I was firstly a mother and I wanted to give all my time to my daughter. But at the same time, I also wanted to work with this beautiful material and express my understanding of it in a way that, like also exploring it in a way that I don't know what I'm going to find out. It was always this curiosity-driven project that I don't know what's going to come out of it, what am I going to make. So when I first saw bamboo, I said, okay, let's look at it as this natural material, and let's not look at it as what do I want to design out of it. So this is the material. It's available in abundance where I live. So the work here that you see, there are 2 species that I've used. One grows in my farm. It's called Bambusa tulda, which is locally also called as Jati bamboo. And the other big pieces that you see is of the dragon bamboo that comes from the Bhutan-Assam border, where my fellow artisan lives. So this is a story of a collaboration between an artisan who is not a trained artisan, but a local person who knows bamboo as a construction material, who has a house that's made of bamboo, who has used bamboo in fencing, in farming, but doesn't have any prior training in bamboo craft. It is also a collaboration with a material which is voiceless, but I want to be the voice for it. I want to give it be able to express itself in the work that I do. So I don't want people to talk about my design, but rather than the material. So it's very rewarding for me when people look at the work and they say, wow, is this bamboo? That's when I know that I've achieved something, you know. So it's always that it's personified actually in my workshop. So we talk about, so Ba is the name of my little bamboo studio. And I've also given an extension and called it Ba Biotic, because I know that bamboo will not only be the material that I work with. As I walk in the forest, I'll be fascinated by the grass, I'll be fascinated by various natural materials that are living in the forest. So that's why Ba Biotic. So there is Ba, there is me, and there is Dada, my fellow artisan with whom. So it's this work that you see here is a collaboration between the three of us. And if you like it, that means the three of us have shown through it, you know, that we have been able to express ourselves in every single piece, in every cut, in the textures, in the way we have shown you the inherent beauty of the material itself. So that has been my endeavor and still is, and I still feel that I haven't really totally understood this material, and I feel that every day that I walk into my studio, I will learn something new, and so I make it a limited edition every time I walk so that I can try something new tomorrow again.
Talking about limited edition, the material, there's something so beautiful about bamboo that, as you know, I am also in love with bamboo because I've grown up with so much bamboo. Most of us who've come from the hills, we grow up with bamboo around us. So bamboo takes, I don't know if maybe a lot of you already know this, but it takes 5 years when bamboo is planted. It takes 5 years just to sort of spread the roots. And then suddenly, after 5 years, it just sprouts and sprouts and sprouts. And I think that's so beautiful that it takes 5 years to sort of, you know, for the roots to grow and sort of hold on to the earth. So also with this work, Cami, I think that I think we were having a conversation with Anumutra in terms of using, you know, some of your creations to serve food. Yeah. And we spoke about how do we work with it? How do we serve with it? Do we wash it? And she mentioned smoking, and you said this doesn't need to be smoked. It's already treated. So tell us a little bit about the time it takes, because, you know, if you're going to listen to the material, and it is not an easy, I think, for most of us who engage with bamboo or want to engage with bamboo, we are a little afraid because it is a very live material. Therefore, it also, you know, it doesn't feel like it would last for too long. It has a life of its own. Tell us a little about, like, the process, the time that it takes, how do you listen to it, how do you cure it without smoking it, without, like, telling us exactly how to do it, but a little bit about it.
So, like Mary said, like, I think we get overwhelmed when we see a new material and we say, okay, what do we do with it? Because, I mean, when you talk about bamboo, a lot of people will say, oh, you will need an infrastructure to work with it. You will need a space where you will treat it. You will need machines to cut it. You will need tools of various kinds to work on it. And I actually didn't have the money, and I didn't have the time to invest in all this. I just said, I'm going to look at it as a plant, maybe like a vegetable, and start with my kitchen. Let's see what happens if I boil it. Let's see what happens if I dry it. Let's see what happens if I smoke it. And I know that there are already traditional methods of curing bamboo like this. So for the longest time, I always called my material a home-cured material, like you would cure your food at home, like smoke your meat and dry your leaves, so that you can use it off-season. So I said, this is a plant. I think we can all approach it like this, simply like this. And I actually didn't know what I would get out of all that, but it's just that over time, I think also material is a very, bamboo is a very attention-seeking material, just like my daughter actually. It needs you to keep touching it and giving that, you know, that attention, even like an aftercare process when you have it. Like all of us, I mean, bamboo has come in such a big way as a green material now. Like if you talk about this, which I don't understand, this zero waste lifestyle that we talk about, because there's no such thing as zero waste. But bamboo has come in a big way in this aspect. And so a lot of people I've seen like buying bamboo cutlery, which they put in their purse, buying bamboo straws, bamboo toothbrushes. But but what happens about the longevity of this material? Like, how can we? Because yes, it is a biodegradable material. It can go back into the soil, but that again depends upon the integrity of its journey from the source to the product. So, if I'm going to douse it with chemicals and treat it chemically, it is not safe to go back into the earth, right? But if you follow that loop and you say that this is a natural material, so I'm going to take it from the earth. And this is a cycle that it's following, right? It's going to go back into the earth, and I'm going to be in some part of that cycle somewhere, and I'm just going to like extend its life a little bit more. Like I would like my products to become heirlooms, so that, I mean, it has that potential in it. It has been treated over time. It has the potential to live a very, very long life. Like Mary, you even know like some of the baskets and all that in our homes, even across various places in Northeast that they have baskets which from long generations, right, that have been passed down. So similarly, even my products have the potential of becoming heirlooms. But how do we ensure that when it can be safely put back to the earth? So this loop, we just extend it, but we don't disrupt it in any way. We need to ensure that it can just go back into the earth and become delicious nutrients. So sustainability for me that's the thing. Like, it's not the material, it is the integrity of its journey, that what journey is this material taking from the source to the product, and then it goes on to you, the person who's using it, right? How are you going to have those lifestyle changes? Are you going to make an effort to have those lifestyle changes? Like if you use a bamboo straw, will you immediately clean it? Because bamboo straw in a milkshake lying there overnight and thinking that you'll be able to clean it the next day, no, it's not happening, right? So I think if we are bringing bamboo into our lives, we also have to give it that attention that it seeks.
I think I'm going to shift this conversation a little bit, because we've spoken about the fact that it takes time, you have to interact with it. But I think in India, and a lot of our regions as well, when we're looking at the crafts, it's also this, that it takes so much time to work with these natural materials. But when we've placed it in the craft space, it is not often given the worth that it should be given in the market. What do you think about that? Because, like the kind of material that you're making, coming from the region that you do, the Northeast, but you've not interpreted it in the way that bamboo normally would, with the baskets, as you mentioned, or we have a lot of mats. We have different interpretations of bamboo, right, on different products. They're also very cheaply priced. In fact, it really, it deeply saddens me that the way that the craftsmen, as we call them, price their products in the market is actually according to minimum wage. And there's no calculation of material costs, because the material, according to them, is actually coming from the environment. It's free. And so that is how bamboo products are priced by the craftsperson. So what do you think about that, Cami? Because you come from a design background, you've studied abroad, and you know that there is a very different worth, perhaps, or a possibility of worth for your products, if you were to call them products. What do you think about that, like in terms of how works made from bamboo are priced?
That's the worst part, the finance aspect of your project, right? That's something that I hate doing, like doing costings and, determining the price of my work. But I think craftsmanship, if it shines through, what you make, and I think if you can see that the layers of work that has gone into it, right? Like, so, I would never bargain for craft, because I know the processes that have gone behind it, right? Like even like textile, like where is it coming from? How is it finally getting to become a garment? There's layers and layers of work, and so much time that goes into it. So there is, I think, we have to understand this in a way that are we like I call bamboo green gold, right? I mean, we know it as green gold. So like I'm also wearing a piece of jewelry which I've made here, and I've actually tried to depict it like a gem, because I think that it is a gem, this beautiful plant, right? But I think if you can, I mean, there is a lot of work already out there. I wouldn't say that there is no work out there where the artistic expression is not shining through, where you can see that there's layers of work. But I think for us also to understand that, and what is the meaning of handmade? Like when we talk about handmade, you know, and machine made, there is energy, our energy that goes into it. There is a thought process that goes into it, which a machine will never be able to give, right? We will not be able to replicate. I mean, none of my leaves are identical in any way. There is, the material is different in every, I mean, the colors, the textures, it's never going to be the same. It's going to be, every piece is going to be different. So I think, if we understand the process and the meaning of handmade, and we give some value to it, then I think we'll be able to, you know, to get that prize for bamboo products. Because I think we don't really, we look at it like as something, oh, the bamboo's growing in the backyard. Bamboo they're making anyways, so there's baskets like which are available in markets. So why should it be expensive, you know?
So I think in the context of why we're here in this project, it's also that, you know, how do we see the value of things? How do we see the value of our material? I mean, you know, when I look at this, like it's a gunny sack, and then I see this, like the designs coming out of me, and I see like this extreme, something that we usually use at the end to sort of wipe our feet with. And there it is, this work of beauty, and to me, it's just the most beautiful thing I see. I would love it on my wall. And so therefore also with our bamboo and our products, in terms of how when we journey into spaces, how will we look at those products that we have always called, you know, the arts and crafts of a place, and sometimes they're very, very undervalued, and it doesn't also encourage experimentation because they're priced so low. So just to continue this conversation before we open it up to all of you, can you tell us a little bit of what this means?
Yeah, so this little installation here on the table, it's called the Memoryscape. It's a toy story I made for my daughter, and it's heavily inspired by her. It's she plays a lot outdoors. My daughter is an outdoor child. And she forages when she plays. She's always picking up she's not allowed to pluck flowers, so she's always engaging. She's right there around the grass and picking up all this, the grass that grows around, stones, twigs, and that becomes part of her play. So, and of course she would just come and just stack them in a very untidy manner in her room. So I thought, what can I do to organize this? You know, what can I do to that I could give her a chance to display all these things that she collects? So this has been inspired by that. And I also say that it kind of rewilds play, you know, like the word rewild is something that really, really resonates with me, and how we can let our children play in the wild, and also bring back this collection and their understanding of the outdoor, and express it through play. So this also, it shows the landscape of the place where my forest home is. As you can see, the hills, the little houses perched up on the edges of the hills, the paddy fields, and the trees around, the stones, somebody lazily lying on a stone, somebody sitting under a tree. So it depicts the landscape. So that's the toy story. This one here is, I call it the understory. It is inspired by the forest floor and the leaves that have fallen on it, and the overlapping of the leaves, the textures. And it is a work under progress, because from this I also want to go into the decay. That's another story that's going to extend from this. So I have just tried to express, I think, my emotions, the smells, the textures, and my love and my gratitude actually for this piece of land that has become my home for 7 years. And I've just expressed that in this work. Thanks.
Thank you, Cami. I hope for those of you who haven't seen it, please come and see it. I think for me, when I was sort of, thinking of these works to be part of this show, in ways of how people can journey to us, it was also that this Toy Story, what Cami calls, I wish I will be your daughter in the next lifetime, so I have toys like this. But what it evokes for me is actually like, it's like a dreamscape, when you travel through highways and you're looking at that village far away, and it feels like such a dream, because for those of us who live in cities, like those, I don't know if all of you have that similar feeling when you're traveling on the highway, that you're looking at a little village up on the hill and it feels so idyllic, and you wish that you were there. So this is also that for me, like a dreamscape, a possibility of what could be from our busy, hectic lives. And just a little tweak to also this, the understory, is that, and our textile head is here, the director of textile department from the government of Meghalaya. Welcome. And from art and culture. What we've also done is actually we've put Rynjah, which is our silk, from the state of Meghalaya under this. And because it's also about how we feel our land is precious, and so under all of this, which you can't see, is a Rynjah silk. So we welcome you to you continue a conversation with us. I think on that note, we would invite you to come and see it, those of you who haven't. And we're going to move on to the next panel. So we're going to make you do some work for that. All you need to do is stand up and turn your chairs around. Yes? Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, people.